So I'm out minding my own business, walking my dog, and I get this panic text message saying that we're supposed to start recording this like in 5 minutes. And I was like, hey, man, I'm pretty sure we had this whole conversation last night that we were pushing back an hour. And you were like, oh my God, did we? We sure did. And I'm out walking my dog. So now I'm wearing like an oversized fucking sweatshirt and a beanie because I'm in my workout clothes, basically, having walked my dog and getting here to do this podcast with you in the morning. And I'm just going to throw it out there now to show you the kind of chaotic energy that we're bringing to the fact that we recorded the Iron Man episode last night for like in real time, but you're getting it like 2 weeks later. But for me, it's been a very few hours since I've been with this gentleman, and he's already stressing me out on our second episode.
Okay, look, I admit it. I am bringing a lot of chaotic energy this week. I'm on call for work. I'm like car situations. I'm traveling things around. Kim's doing stuff. It's been a lot of chaos.
Cats and dogs living together. It's mass hysteria.
I fully admit I had this full-on conversation with PJ yesterday. We're going to push it till 1:00 p.m. Eastern time to record, and then we'll do it, and it'll be great. And I completely, totally forgot that when I went to bed that night as I was planning out my schedule, bringing people and whatever it is. So I was like, yes, all right, great, I'm ready to go. I got to go get a drink. We're going to go. He's like, I'm not home yet. Like, we talked about this. But luckily, PJ is a god of a man, and he rushed home with the dog, got his stuff together, and he got on screen even before I did. So
Dude, the fact that happened, number one,
is
really funny because you were like, "Oh my God, yeah, well, can we record?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm already back." Because you started panicking and you were like, "We can push it back to next week if we have to." I was all, "Motherfucker, I can't do next Monday. Like, it's my day. It's my one day a year where everyone across the country eats potatoes in my honor."
To be fair, doing the Incredible Hulk about this big green guy on St. Patrick's Day would be fitting.
You're not wrong, but it's the day that people celebrate me, and I have to be serving alcohol that day. So I'm going to be very busy. There's no world I'm going to want to record on St. Patrick's Day. I can fucking tell you that much.
I get it. Totally get it. Well, hopefully I just don't get called into work and we can get this done and through and we're ready to go. Because I'm excited to talk about The Incredible Hulk, a forgotten movie in the MCU until Brave New World shows up. Honestly speaking.
Well, at this rate, Brave New World may get forgotten about, which is really sad because the box office of that movie has been relatively dismal.
Yeah, not very good at all. We're hoping it breaks even, or barely breaks even. Who knows?
You know what? It's almost like if you spend a year and a half in the press, like attacking a movie, people don't want to go see it.
Right.
And fuck it. I'm going to get into this. I am really tired of Marvel. I've said it before in the past. I'm tired of Marvel being a punching bag, but this self-fulfilling prophecy also where all these people online who are like, man, like Marvel's in such a rough shape and shit because they spend a year and a half attacking stuff. And then the movies falter, and then they're like, see, we told you. And it's like, no, actually, you guys spent a year and a half saying that this movie was a disaster before it even released.
Mm-hmm.
And you put people off of it. You create a narrative, and that narrative fucking happens. Mm-hmm. Like, back the fuck off and just let the movies speak for themselves. I'm not going to say that Brave New World's the greatest movie ever made, but fucking relax.
Part of it also is this like scoop culture we live in. There's scoop culture. Everybody's got to get leaks of everything and scoops of everything. And I heard this from Joe Schmo that they had 5,000 reshoots, and then there was this super secret double probation test screening on the back corner lot of Ed Norton's house, and it went awfully. And like it's like, I feel like sometimes they make things up for clicks.
100% they do.
And like, so it's kind of like, it gets to the point where I'm just tired of hearing about it. Like, obviously this movie is trash. Everybody's telling me it's trash, and not me. I don't buy that shit because I go to see things for myself. I wouldn't judge things for myself. But
you and I are also smart about this shit,
right? But people out there generally, not that they're not smart, but they just kind of read these things and take it in. It's like, oh, well, I just hear that it's bad, so why would I bother? And that becomes the whole narrative of the entire universe. Like, Marvel is now bad because of these specific things going on. And I got to tell you, there's no Marvel movie that I don't at least have some affinity for. And
there's still only one outright MCU flop, and it's the Marvels.
Yeah.
Only the one, because even Brave New World is still made almost $400 million. Like, it's in no way is it an outright flop or anything. But like this narrative that the MCU is in such dire shape. Like, Multiverse of Madness made almost $1 billion. It made like $400 million more than the last Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
No Way Home made a stupid amount of money for a lot of reasons. Like,
Yes.
Shang-Chi did really well considering COVID. Black Widow did really well considering COVID. Like, even Eternals did very well for itself. For
Right.
what it was. Like, this narrative that the MCU is in such like dire straits is so overblown. It's exhausting.
Hmm.
I think Thunderbolts is actually going to be like really well received and really good. And
I think
I
so.
think
I
it's going
hope
to
so
make a
too,
lot
because
of
we
money.
haven't heard a lot about it, which I think is a good thing. I mean, it's somewhat, the negative side of that is that, well, we haven't heard anything about it. So do people even realize it's coming out, kind of
Well, it
thing?
had
And
that
like
huge pop in the middle of the Super Bowl.
it did, which is big. And so I think that's going to help. And it does seem like it's less about like, I think people go in knowing that this isn't like hugely, possibly narratively big. We don't really, I guess it doesn't seem like it's way like the weight of the MCU isn't on the Thunderbolt's shoulders. It felt
Right.
it was at least partially on Captain America. It's really on Fantastic Four. That's the one that like the MCU is really kind
Yeah.
of banking on being huge.
That's a great teaser, though.
Yeah, it is a great teaser. Absolutely. So this is kind of that in
There's
between. Because it's the in between, that's the other reason why I'm not sure how it's going to go. Although I think it looks great. I'm actually
yeah.
looking forward to it quite a
I
bit.
think it's going to do really well. I think it's going to be a sneaky surprise for the year. I also think we're getting a new Fantastic Four trailer like in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been hearing the beginning of April. We're supposed to, I think on April 4th, we're supposed to get another trailer.
Is that okay? Well,
That
that's
I
not too
mean,
far out.
4/4.
That would make sense.
Yeah. So there's been a rumor for a little bit that we're supposed to get a new trailer next month. So I
Right.
think that we're gonna see like a pretty full court press on Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
And a
that
big
has to.
reason of that is because it's kind of what they had to do with Homecoming and what we're gonna be seeing with Fantastic Four. And a lot of it actually, weirdly enough, to bring this full circle comes back to this. Because back in 2008, when The Incredible Hulk came out, they didn't make like a huge, because Iron Man was kind of the movie that they were really banking on. This movie had a like late marketing campaign. It was kind of, they were pushing it, but not really, because Iron Man was kind of at the forefront of everything.
Right.
And the other thing was they were coming off of a film that only 5 years before had been pretty dismally received in Ang Lee's Hulk, a movie that actually over time has gotten like better in some capacity, and worse in others, depending on how you want to look at it. But the interesting thing is like, in a lot of ways, this movie is actually just kind of a sequel to that one. A lot of where that movie ends with Bruce Banner and a lot of what has happened in it, you can kind of see as a sequel, like where it picks up with the character and things like that. But it's also doing its own version of the origin at the beginning with the credit sequence and things like that. But they didn't really know how to handle the marketing for it.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, not only is it a sequel to the 2003 movie, but this movie also is a sequel in a weird kind of way, sequel, homage, whatever, to the Kenneth Johnson TV series, Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno. There is definitely a lot of that heart in this film as well.
Yes.
And I was very lucky at one point in my career here on PLD Projects to get to interview Kenneth Johnson for review, because he's also the creator of V,
Right.
which is one of my favorite sci-fi stuff. And he talked about that a few times, and he mentioned how Kevin Feige actually talked to him at one point and told him like how much he loved the TV show and how much it was like instrumental in getting that Hulk to the
Yes.
big screen and everything else. And it really is a big part of it. If you ever, and I think the show is, I don't think it's forgotten over time, but it's not something that people have seen. Like the newer, younger generation of Marvel fans probably haven't really seen that. And I think they're missing out. I mean, obviously it's got its drawbacks of its own. It's 70s,
Sure.
80s TV
It's
show.
very 70s, 80s. Yeah.
Lou Ferrigno is just a muscle man. Hulk is just like, it's not like an old CGI, no larger than life. It's a
God,
big,
how good
strong
was Bill
wrestler.
Bixby?
But Bill Bixby was awesome, and Lou Ferrigno was good too when he did what he had to do. But yeah, I love that idea, and I love that we got to take what all superhero movies really should do. You kind of take advantage, you take like inspiration from your past incarnations, because there's usually something that people like and people can glom onto, and then but you still make it your own and still find a way to fit it into your burgeoning MCU narrative that's coming out as well. I think this film is actually very, very successful in doing that.
I 100% agree. And it's, so you look at the film and you look at how it all came together, but because of the middling response to the Ang Lee film, because Iron Man was still new and was like the forefront of all this, with the Dark Knight coming on the horizon also, like Hulk really got lost in the shuffle. And it wasn't the only movie that year, because if you remember also Hellboy 2 had a very similar
Mhm.
kind of fizzle out where it was like people liked the first one, but there was so much happening.
Yeah.
Enough that once this movie had been out for like 2 weeks and was already underperforming, they were putting the clip of Downey Jr. showing up in the TV spots trying to convince people to go see it, to make it a
Mhm.
point that like, "Hey guys, you should go see the new Hulk movie because Robert Downey Jr. is in it and it's tied to Iron Man."
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what it
It
was.
in the right, and so they really kinda struggled out the gate, and it's kind of a bummer because for all intents and purposes, it's actually a very good movie, and it actually like, yes, the MCU kind of forgot about it until recently, but I mean, even in the Avengers, when Ruffalo shows up, and eventually we talk about it when we get to the Avengers, but like, they even reference the original deleted opening of the film where Banner tries to kill himself.
Right.
And like, so it was never that they totally wrote this film off. It was
Oh,
just
right.
that because it has a different person up front as Bruce Banner, it plays a huge part in why it was kind of shuffled away. And I think the design was so different on top of it because the Hulk looks drastically different in this film than he does when you get to the Avengers, because they're more emulating the people that are playing the character on top of it. Um, and it's weird because all things being equal, for any time I've thought about what I wanted to see in a Hulk film, like in live action, growing up in front of a Circle K, reading comic books and drinking ices, this would have been the movie because I liked the TV show growing up.
Yep.
I loved the comics, and this finds a nice marriage between like the Bruce Banner on the run trying to help the little people around him while also dealing with like the bigger threats that you would only seen on a comic page at that point.
Right, the
And it
abomination.
finds a nice marriage between the two while creating a mystery also around this character that Tim Roth plays, or not
Right,
Tim Roth, Tim Blake Nelson plays,
right.
and and also bringing to life the MCU a little more. There's a little bit more of the Shield stuff. There, just little things. The Super Soldier program is like front and center of this film.
Right. Absolutely.
So yeah,
I would
it's a good movie, one that deserved better.
Of course, I think also part of the reason this is kinda not forgotten, but they don't really follow up on it for a while is they had to worry about the rights issues as
Yeah,
far as, like, getting this was actually incredibly like a solo movie that they really haven't done since, and I know there's I don't it's the one that's most complicated to me. Sony, I understand Spider-Man stuff. I understand they didn't
yeah,
have X-Men and Fantastic Four, they got them now, but Hulk always seems like this weird kind of like they owe Universal money. Universal not quite giving it up, and they can't do a solo movie anymore without giving them all sorts of like credit. That's why you've seen a lot of Hulk story being told over like the Avengers, over Thor Ragnarok, over like
yeah.
they're kind of told in different pieces. I think they own She-Hulk outright, which is why they can have like the She-Hulk show and Hulk could appear there, for example. And
And from what I understand, so you're right. So it's complicated because for some reason the rights with the Universal one were a little different, where Universal kind of owned it outright for longer.
right,
And also what happened is, technically speaking, because they made the film within the like confines of the time frame at the time, Marvel was like, "Look, if you work with us, you can hold on to the rights for longer, and if you guys decide that you want to do another Hulk movie, whatever, we'll work with you to do it as long as we can fold it into the MCU." Basically, what they're doing with Sony.
right, exactly,
So the problem became was that the movie underperformed, and while Marvel may wanted to have continued Hulk stories, Universal had no interest because for them it looks like a loss margin.
right,
And so that's why they started pivoting to be like, well, fuck, if we're going to tell stories with Banner, it has to be in other movies because we technically own the character to use him within the MCU so long as he's not leading his own films.
right, right.
And but now, from what I understand, they should have gotten the rights back. So that's why there's all these rumors circulating that they're actually talking about doing that World War Hulk film finally,
Right.
because they now own the rights enough that should they continue forward, Mark Ruffalo can lead a Hulk film now.
Right. And that's true. That's great. I haven't heard any specifics about it. I have heard rumors about it as well. But again, like I said, this is the one that I've understood the least as far as that goes, because it's kind of strange in terms of like what's going on here necessarily, what they can do, what they can't do. I mean, some of it's not what they can do, what they can't do. It's what they want to do because of
Yeah.
what is going around it. And if they can find their way around it, then they had been. So who knows exactly? But there's a lot of reasons. I think there's a lot of reasons why we haven't seen. I mean, this is why, again, what you think about, though, is the right reason why Captain America: Brave New World was honestly almost more of a sequel to Incredible Hulk than a Captain America movie to a degree. It's kind of like
To a degree, I think so, yes. I also think that was them trying to be clever and finally do a thing that we hadn't really seen them do, which was kind of like mix and match heroes and villains in a way
right.
that we don't always see. Because, in the comics, they do that all the time. But in the
Oh, yeah.
movies, they've not really done that.
Kind of stuck to their goal. Yeah, of course, it makes sense because like you have a comic book, you have like 36 issues, or you can do all sorts of
Right.
crazy things. Where in the movie, you have one movie, two, like it's just a certain amount of things. You want to see the thing you see. You want to see the Avengers versus Ultron. You want to see Spider-Man, like versus
Yeah.
Green Goblin, that kind of stuff. But yeah, you're right. The leader is a Hulk villain, but we got him in Captain America.
Because people love a political thriller, and the Captain America movies tend to lean more political thriller, and you aren't really necessarily going to have like, Mark Ruffalo standing on the steps of the, Capitol being like, we can't elect Ross, and like having it as a political thriller like that, because part of the fun of that movie is that having someone like Sam Wilson being a character who is aware of the situation, but not aware either, right?
Right.
And this ticking time bomb of will he, won't he? And had Banner been involved, immediately he would have probably known it was the leader. But when you have Sam Wilson being involved, it's an entirely different kettle of fish at that point.
Absolutely.
Why do we use that term? Why did I just say that?
Kettle of fish.
Why is that a thing? I don't understand.
As an old village kind of thing, I don't know what that is. I actually, speaking of saying, I was talking to Lego, my co-host for review, and I said something about being if you're in for the goose, in for the gander. And she's like, what does that even mean? I'm like, I honestly don't really know. It's just an old-timey saying we have.
Yeah, but it's weird, right? Because like barrel of monkeys, I kind of get it, but like kettle of fish?
Right. Oh, yeah, it's just strange.
What are we doing here? The English language has words and meaning, and kettle of fish doesn't really make sense. I don't understand.
And yet it does, because I know exactly what you're talking about.
I know, but it's weird,
right? It is very.
It's only because we've been told it makes sense.
Right? Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
You know what? I'm gonna Google this real quick. What does kettle of fish
Where
mean?
does that come from? That's really what's the etymology of the phrase?
The expression "a kettle of fish" means a real mess. If you accidentally scheduled 3 dates on the same night, you might call it a kettle of fish.
Huh? Interesting. I've never heard it used that way, but okay.
I haven't either. And why? What is the idiom? A kettle of fish may have originated from the custom of cooking salmon in a kettle outdoors, but the exact origin is unknown. Because apparently, if you do that, it is a bad situation, a mess, or a muddle.
Okay.
I have so many questions still, because it still just doesn't make sense in my head as a thing.
Yeah, I get that. And I realized I said my phrase wrong to Lego. Supposed to be what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I think I was supposed to say I think I was combining phrases. That's how much I was basically saying in for one, in for the whole thing. English is weird.
English is weird. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It is a wonder to me that people want to learn our language, because we're already a really dumb group of people a lot of the time. And then you look at our English language and it's like, well, that's why, because everything we do just doesn't make sense.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And you know what the funny part of this? Here we are having a podcast about the Marvel Cinematic Universe on our Patreon page here, our YouTube membership page, and we're giving you a free English lesson. So you're getting your money's work.
Yeah, this is the teacher in me coming out, because as everyone knows who's listened for long enough, I wanted to be a professor for a long time. I wanted to be a teacher, and then I saw the looming crisis of intelligence, and I went, I want nothing to do with any of this. So I walked away because my entire family has been in like the teaching side of
Right.
things, and then my dad was a literal rocket scientist.
Right.
So like it, for as stupid as I can be, I have smart genes, and so that's why I have that side of me.
Wrangler or Levi or
Yeah, well, all of the above. Just don't cross the streams. You know what's so interesting about this movie, though?
What's that?
Not just the reception. There's also, like, in the years since it's come out, we've also learned all the behind-the-scenes drama. There was competing cuts of the movie. Louis Leterrier, who directed this, who's also like the dude who did the really badass Jet Li movie Unleashed. He worked on the Transporter franchise. He unfortunately did one of the Clash of the Titans remake movies. I think it was the first one.
Yeah, I think so too.
That sounds correct. Though I do own it because I like Louis Leterrier. He's a great action filmmaker, and he was kind of perfect for this in a lot of ways.
See, of course, most probably well known now for being the guy who replaced Justin Lin in Fast X, who would listen to whatever Vin was wanting to do.
Well, and also because he had worked with Statham.
Yeah,
that's a big reason why they got him, is that they knew he was a gun for hire who could do action, and he would work well with a lot of people.
Right,
and it was a smart move.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Fast X, kind of a banger, actually.
Yeah. Not a great movie, but a fun action fun action-packed popcorn film, basically.
Also, maybe the best version of Joker that's ever been put on film. Just throwing that out there because Jason Momoa is fucking incredible in it.
Yeah, he is. He is.
That's a whole nother podcast for another time, and I'm sure we'll get to it eventually.
I gotta tell you, if we ever did the Fast and the Furious movies, like on Patreon here or something, that John Lestrino would lose his mind.
The more I think about it, the more I want to do it so bad, though, because let's talk about a franchise that graduated upwards. They started with a Point Break remake where they literally just ripped it off, and were very open about just ripping off Point Break, where a bunch of teens were basically stealing DVD players only for the 10th film, technically 11th because of Hobbs and Shaw, but where they're at the Vatican trying to stop it from being destroyed. Like, how far we've come, ladies and gentlemen. The Fast Furious franchise is the greatest telenovela ever put on film.
It is legitimately a superhero movie now, basically. It's actually not much different than Iron Man. They just have cars instead of suits, pretty much at this point.
And Vin Diesel. Although the MCU has Vin Diesel, too.
That's true. That's true.
He's got there yet. They got Groot.
They do got Groot. They do have Groot.
And they have Kurt Russell.
Yeah. That's right. They have. That's absolutely true.
They do.
They technically have Charlize Theron.
Yeah, they both have Charlize Theron. Technically speaking, there's a lot of shared here. Yeah. Actually, the more that I think about it, we need to get some Ludacris in the MCU. That's what we need.
Maybe some John Cena at some point.
Yeah, but then we can't see him.
That's true. That's true. That'd be a good DC thing. He's a Peacemaker. I saw what you did there.
Yeah, thank you. So it's interesting. So they get Louis Leterrier, they get Edward Norton. Edward Norton, who is famously like difficult to work with, but also like an incredible actor. Yeah. And they put together this movie that is supposed to be very reminiscent of the TV show, and like still an action film, but very like about Banner. And they have this whole cut of the movie that they make that now here's what I don't know. I don't know if it's Universal who kiboshes the thing, or if it's the Marvel Creative Committee that kiboshes this thing.
Right.
But Norton and Leterrier have their own version of the movie that they have put together. They are eventually basically locked out of the editing room. And Marvel releases a 20-minute shorter cut of the film. And a lot of it had Ty Burrell, from what I understand. And you can actually see some of the footage involving Ty Burrell in some of the old trailers where he's having like a one-on-one conversation with Banner. Stuff that we don't end up seeing in the movie because there was supposed to be a little bit more like character-driven. I don't know if like I'm trying to just figure out how to describe it, but I just a more character-driven film, basically a little more cerebral.
That's right up Norton's alley. I would
right. And so they shot all this, and including the aforementioned original opening of the film, which was Banner in the Arctic trying to kill himself, and the Hulk taking over and going, "You're not killing us."
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's a darkly great opening. There's a potential nod to Cap in that opening as well, which is kind of fun. In the same way that we actually forgot to bring up, you see Cap's shield in Iron Man, a prototype of it in the background of Tony's garage. So they kind of had something like that going on here too, where he's out there and they may or may not kind of see what looks like Cap in the ice.
Nice.
So they put this movie together. It has a huge behind the scenes faux pas, basically. Norton refuses to do press for the film because of it. And that completely undermines the film that is already having a hard time being marketed. They're running late in the marketing campaign because they're spending their money on the Iron Man film to get it out.
Right.
And this movie kind of ends up DOA. And I have a funny story about this in some capacity. It's a good movie, by the way. We're just talking box office wise. It's DOA. So I went to the midnight show of this movie. Do you know what also opened the same night as this movie?
June of 2008.
And the only reason I know this is they accidentally started the movie.
Is it Dark Knight?
No, sir. M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening opens the same night. And at our midnight showing, they accidentally start The Happening instead of The Incredible Hulk. And the entire group is like, wait, this doesn't seem right.
Oh, my. Oh,
I ended up seeing like the opening of The Happening unintentionally. We were all like, this doesn't look like a Marvel movie. And then it was like, oh, this is The Happening. Wait, what? So then they had to start the movie over with all the trailers and everything.
That's funny. That is
so
how long did it take? How long did it take before you figured it out?
It didn't take too long. Like you could tell pretty quickly, like, oh wait, this isn't right. You know what I'm saying? Like you were sitting there and you're like, no, this is wrong. Something about this isn't right. So The Happening starts, and I don't think we made it more than like 3 minutes.
Right.
Probably, but still just very funny to me that happened.
Oh yeah, that happened. That was a happening. It definitely happened.
That was a terrible joke, and I love you. You're a wonderful human being.
We're on the same page here. We're on the same page.
Yeah, what a bad movie The Happening is, by the way.
You know, it's. I actually have a lot of fun with it.
It's fun to watch.
Right, it's not a good movie, but
it's bad.
I think people. It's funny how people like really overly hate it. I'm kind of like, I get it. The Earth wants to kill it, like the trees want to kill us because we're assholes. I kind of get that concept in a way, but like it is very silly. Part of that doesn't help because it's Marky Mark there. Not Marky Mark is a scientist, which doesn't quite sell me.
Okay. Yeah. So we get into this we're going to end up in this conversation a little bit involving people playing scientists.
We are. I had to bring it up now.
But here's the thing. Then you bring that up and your entire argument goes out the window because arguably there's two worst castings when it comes to people trying to sound smart and not being scientisty. One is Marky Mark in The Happening, and the other is Denise Richards in The World's Not Enough.
Absolutely. So awful. Like so awful.
It does not get worse than that, honestly.
No, that's true. No, you're right. You're absolutely right there. I'll give you that. But yeah, you're actually right the other way too. And also, this is again, I always wish I had a chance to reread that MCU book. If I remember correctly, that also Kevin Feige really hadn't established himself as Kevin Feige at this point yet either. So there was definitely some interference from Marvel as well, which led to the whole different cuts and everything else. They had a little more control. It wasn't really until the end of, I want to say like phase 1, where like Kevin Feige was like, okay, I got this, step back. And
it was basically when he hit the Avengers, I think.
Right.
More than anything. Yeah.
Took over. That's when he really got to clean the kitchen of all the cooks, so to speak. But that really is felt here. It is definitely felt here, where they definitely tried to they try to be too studio wise. Like, and you always hear about studio notes when they're bad. Studio notes aren't necessarily always bad. They sometimes actually help. But in this case, it definitely became a case of trying to do too much, trying to have too much control over the output and everything else. But it definitely alienated Norton for sure. I think Lewis Teddy is kind of like us. He's kind of very chill, as laid back, and I don't think he loved it, but I think like he would come back probably. Like, okay, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It feels like it is. But Norton, you can't have like this. Norton's going to be pissed, and you're going to hear about it, and he's not.
And we
come
sure
back.
did.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Kevin Feige also has said that like we necessarily didn't really want him back either because of things.
Right, because it was a difficult relationship, just period. Because again, he is a difficult individual, and truth be told, as much as I'll say this up front, I really like Edward Norton in this movie.
Yeah.
I think he's a great Bruce Banner. I don't see his Bruce Banner hanging out with the Avengers in the same way that I see Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner. Because
should we just get into it?
Look, yeah, I know what you're gonna say. I know that you think that he's very good at being a scientist, and he's good at speaking smart, and you don't think Mark Ruffalo is.
Let's call a spade a spade. I actually prefer Edward Norton's Hulk, Banner and Hulk, over Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, and that's not a slight on Mark Ruffalo. I like Mark Ruffalo.
Science bros forever, motherfucker.
You and I had this conversation about this, part of this is one of the areas we actually really completely differ. Like last episode, Iron Man, we talked about like how the Terrence Howard versus the I'm blanking Don Cheadle of it all. We had an argument. We were on different sides again. I think we were a lot closer in terms of we ended up being on close enough to the same page, especially when you talked about the relationship of Rhodey and Tony in the first film and how that didn't work with Terrence. And so we kind of got the same page on. This one, I don't think we can necessarily, but we'll see. I've always struggled with Mark Ruffalo, and this is going to sound awful and judgmental, and I don't think Mark Ruffalo is a stupid man at all. I'm just saying kind of how he comes off doesn't scream one of the most intelligent men in the MCU, like in that world. In that world, he does not scream one of the most intelligent men. So when he's talking science, talking smart, he feels like that guy who is on YouTube who crib notes from Neil deGrasse Tyson, doesn't have an idea what the words actually mean. He looks like an actor saying sciencey things.
And I am baffled by this because it doesn't matter how many times you say this, and I go, my man, if I told you all the people in my life that I spent time around because of my dad's job that look and sound just like Mark Ruffalo, and they were always the smartest people in the room, and yet they looked like the most unintelligent individuals.
Maybe it's not even his look. It's just I don't know. I
know it's just so funny to me because I'm like, he looks like a literal science bro. Like it's so funny to me because here's the thing. I have wanted them to do a Columbo movie for so long with Mark Ruffalo because
I'd be on board with that. I would absolutely.
He's still the smartest person in the room, and
it's not the smart like being the smartest person in the room in one side of things, like a street smart kind of thing, an intelligent, clever, murder, motive, mystery detective. That I could buy, like a noir. Mark Ruffalo, absolutely. Whiskey soaked, kind of like sitting there with the overcoat on and like. He's looking at things, he figures things out. Yes, but talking about like gamma rays and scientific experiments, that I just don't buy. Norton, who doesn't look like a scientist at all, I fully agree with that. He actually looks like a pretty, like, almost he'd make more the jockey type kind of person.
Yes, correct.
But he's such an intensity that I think he knows what he's talking about. Even if he doesn't, I believe he knows what he's talking about.
This is the dumbest hill you've ever died on, and I love you for it. I just want you to know that. It is the dumbest hill of all time, and I'm here for you living your best life and, like, living your truth. It's absurd, but I love this for you.
No, I would be the first to admit it's absurd. And, like, I actually not that I don't like Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. I've grown to like his Hulk very much in a way. But I think it's because I've teased with what I do like. And Edward Norton's Hulk is something I really do like. I would love to see him continue, especially because he is such a top-notch performer. And it's not that Mark Ruffalo's not a top-notch performer. They got to replace good with good. It's just that I had my preference. And it is what it is.
Oh, I get it. You know what? It's so funny because I really think Ruffalo ended up getting it more just because he and Downey Jr. had such a good time making Zodiac together.
Zodiac. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Like, that is ultimately why he got the role. And I love that, though, because their chemistry is amazing. And again, that's why I believe the like banter and relationship between we're talking about the Avengers at this point, but like I believe that relationship, and I don't think I would have believed it with Norton because I don't think Norton could have done it the same way. And I guess like ultimately that's the point also is that they wanted a different version of Banner by the time we got to the Avengers. Like
Yeah.
Marvel had decided they wanted a different route altogether.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's fine, but it is a bummer because I actually really do like Edward Norton in this movie. I think he's a very good Bruce Banner.
You know what it is about I think here's here I'm gonna pitch one more thing about my high hill that I'm tying on. I think part of this I'm thinking about it now, I think it has to do with, to me, at its core, Hulk at its core is a person like Banner is a person who is controlling his rage.
Right.
And Edward Norton screams like that there's this intense rage inside him that could boil over at any second. Ruffalo seems like a big teddy bear. Like that doesn't like, and he has had
Yes.
anger moments, but like I feel like Ruffalo is the guy you hang out at the bar and everything is, we're gonna fucking sing Kumbaya together and we're gonna get high and we're gonna
I
smoke
I
up
I
and
don't disagree with that, but also Ruffalo has that like he has that silent rage that Norton's is a lot more overt. Like when I look at Ruffalo, I see a
physicality.
dude who could break at any moment, and but you're not waiting for, and that's why obvious again. I mean, I'm jumping ahead movies, but that's why the whole thing is that's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry.
That's exactly the point. Like he says that, I believe that about Edward Norton. He's got that anger in
No,
him that
but
he's
see, I
always
believe it
there.
about Ruffalo. I see it in
I
his
don't.
eyes.
Ruffalo, I don't. At Ruffalo, I see him as
I think that
I
they
don't know.
play the part differently, and
You're right.
and
That's where
that's the
I
thing.
prefer the Norton
No,
version.
no,
That's
no.
where
It's sure, fine. You die on this hill. You're allowed to die on this hill. Look, I'm not gonna shame you for it.
okay.
But also you're wrong, and that's fine.
I'm not going to shame you for being wrong about Ruffalo, and that's okay too.
One of these people has played the role much longer than the other.
It's because he's nicer.
Only in real life, not
In
on
real life, right? In real life.
um
Hey, honestly speaking, it's probably better that Ruffalo did do it because of the cooperativity of it all. I get that.
yes,
I will not
100%.
argue that. I'm just arguing pure performance. I'll take Norton. But
Here's the thing. Which one of these versions of Banner do you actually see hanging out with Thor and Ragnarok? There's your answer.
yeah, you're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong. Different
That's
style
it.
of movie, different
Yeah.
style of thing
Yeah.
for sure. And
100%.
I do not see Edward Norton in a Taika Waititi movie.
No,
That
no, no, no.
would not work.
Not even a little bit.
So,
Not even a little bit. There way too much cocaine for Edward Norton on that movie. So, interestingly enough, this movie though, one thing it does really well outside of Norton is actually very good. His banner's great. I believe he's the Banner on the run. I'm a big believer in him being the Banner that was involved in the super soldier program, who is trying to protect everyone around him, but also protect himself, and he's just trying to stay low key while trying to find a cure. Love all that. Think it's amazing. It also gets the Hulk transformation in a way that I don't necessarily think all the other movies have, is that it's a horror movie.
right.
It's a body horror film, and I
Right.
really love that angle
Yeah, me
because
too.
the first transformation in the film is almost completely shadowed. We really don't see the Hulk fully in his full glory until like the 40-ish minute mark.
Yeah,
Kind
probably
of similarly
the
where we talked about we don't see Stark in the Iron Man
Iron Man
costume
suit, right?
until about 40 minutes in. It's the same thing. It's the battle on the campus is the first time we fully see the Hulk as Hulk. Like we see him a little bit in the shadows. There's like the shots of his face.
Right.
We see parts of him, but it's all done more like a Universal monster movie, which I
Yes.
love.
Well, I know part of that has always been in all the Hulk, even the TV series, Ang Lee's Hulk, is like the idea that the CGI, the transformation is such a hard thing to capture and look real that
Right.
you throw shadows on it. So you throw it in the dark so you can do it easier. And it's cheaper that way. It looks better that way. Exactly. But that might be the reason why they initially did it. But you're right. And that treating it like a horror film is definitely the best way to attack that, because Hulk is a monster. That
Yeah.
is his thing. He is a
It's
monster.
body
So
horror.
let's shoot him like a monster. Now, with that being said, in Hulk in non-Hulk movies like the Avengers is not a monster movie, even if he is a monster. So that's where the
Yeah.
horror aspects kind of get thrown down. And I think also the idea is when you see the Hulk transformation the first time, that's when you're kind of like, and then like as you go on through the MCU, it's like, well, we've
It's
seen
just
this before.
expected.
We know what it is. It's not
Yeah.
as it's not we're not anticipating it as much. It's like, oh, we've been there. Let's get to it. So we don't need
Yeah.
to have that kind of shot. But for the first time or the first film, it's majorly effective, and it's probably one of the most effective things of the film. Because God, man, when he does that during the rundown after the parkour action, as I call it, like or
Yeah.
parkouring through South America there, wherever he is, or I forget where he is.
Yeah, Brazil.
Brazil, yeah, okay. Brazil.
I
Like
think.
he has that big parkour angle or whatever, and then all of a sudden then he has that dark shadow, and all of a sudden the military guy
Oh, yeah, region in,
tossed out.
yeah, he's in Rio de Janeiro. I
Yeah,
just wanted to
yeah,
be sure. Yeah, he is
yeah,
in
yeah.
Brazil.
And it gets tossed out of like the shadows, like he's like, oh, you set up and like, oh, let me see what's going on now. This is good.
Also, can we talk about this movie has a lot of the same humor as Iron Man that we were talking about, the Whedonization of the MCU, as it will. What he like earlier in the movie, he has the line, you wouldn't like me when I'm hungry." Like the little things like that.
Right, they try to say it in Spanish or whatever,
Yeah.
or Portuguese or whatever it is. I don't know what Spanish or either. One of the Hispanic languages. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be racist. I just don't understand. I just don't remember which one it is.
We're Americans. We're stupid. It's fine.
I'm a very stupid American. Maybe we're two stupid men on film. But yeah, I love that because again, it tossed back to that was always said the TV series specifically. That was a very big moment in TV series, and you're expecting that to happen. And what they do, they subvert the humor they subvert that expectation with the little humor. And I love it. You wouldn't like me when I'm hungry, and you got the guy going, "What?"
Yeah. And he's like, "Wait,
well,
that's not right." And he catches himself. He goes, "I know that's not right." Yeah.
Well, me, I'm like, that's my spirit, and I'm like, if I'm hungry, you wouldn't want to meet me when I'm hungry either. So. We missed a Snickers commercial out of that somewhere. That's what we should have gotten out of that. But no, you're
honestly a little surprised that of all the people they haven't marketed with, Snickers is not one of them.
100%. It's like a no brainer.
Yeah.
The other one of my other favorite humor moments that very much is MCU humor. Him and later on, Liv Tyler, him and Bay are on the run and in the streets of New York, like.
Yep.
It's almost
or
like
the taxi cab.
Taxi cab runs up, and she like flips out at him, whatever. You just see him, Edward Norton, take this brief pause and just go, "I have some techniques that might help you control."
Yeah. Well, that and even the brief bit about the subway right before that, when she was like, "We could just take the subway," and he goes, "Me, a rage-filled monster in a tube underground in like the most aggressive city in the world."
Right.
You're right. Let's take a cab, and then the hard cut to the cab being like insanely going all over the road and stuff.
Right.
It's great.
It is. It's so fun. And one more thing I'll throw out there. Again, toss back to the original story and toss back to the comics. What's the clothes she gets him? These big stretchy purple pants. That is exactly what he wore in the comic books. Exactly that. And he like picks them up. He's like, "What is this?" It's a good way to subvert the humor there and everything. It doesn't like say it's bad. It just says it's a wink moment that serves good. Again, that good fan service kind of moment.
Can we also, to that point, a wink to the television show during the initial transformation? They do the like hard zoom in on his eyes, and his eyes go green, just like Bixby's did. I love that. I thought that was so cool, and it continues to be super cool, honestly. That first sequence, man, when he is the Hulk and it's all in the shadows and he's slowly but surely taking out all the different people on Tim Blake Nelson's team is so wonderful because you really get this idea of what the Hulk is capable of in a way I don't think we'd really seen on film to that point. And
Tim Roth, you mean, right? Tim Roth.
Yes, sorry. I did the same thing last time I said Tim Blake Nelson, and I started saying Tim Roth. Yes, so Tim Roth's character.
Yes. What a great casting, by the way, of Tim Roth. Tim Roth
he's so good in this.
Oh, it's a powerful moment. It's a powerful scene.
He's a great character actor.
Yes,
number one,
100%.
And you really believe him as this like hardened soldier who really wants to be able to be on the ground, because they have that whole thing where he's talking to Thunderbolt Ross and he's like, Thunderbolt Ross goes, "You should be a general by now." And he goes, "No, I want to be in the fight. Like, I want to be on the ground. And, if I had my mind now in the body of a much younger man, that'd be someone I wouldn't want to mess with."
Right.
And Ross goes, "Well, I might be able to help you with that." And they put the super soldier serum in him, or
Yeah.
a version of it.
Yeah.
And I love that dichotomy because here's a dude who desperately wants that type of power and wants that type of strength. And then you have someone on the other end of it who is Banner, who wants nothing more than to get this out of his system. He doesn't
Right.
want to have the side effects of this stuff. He doesn't want to be involved in this. He just wants to get away from it. And now this guy is trying to hunt him down. And that sequence is so great because when Roth finally confronts Ross and he goes, "Look, man, you didn't tell us what we were getting into.
Mm.
Whatever was in there, it tossed a forklift like it was a softball." And he's
Yes.
angry. And
Yes.
he's like, "If that thing's protecting Banner, I'm going after it." And then you got Ross and he goes, "That was
It was
Banner."
better.
And he goes, "What?" "It is Banner."
Right.
And the way and again, you know what, man? We haven't really said this either, but God, how good is the casting of Thunderbolt Ross? Like, William Hurt is great in this role.
He really is. He really is. Two things. One thing I want to go back to real quick. Did you know who was in discussion for
No.
Blonsky? Ray Stevenson was actually in discussion
Oh,
for
shit. I
Blonsky
could
to
see
come over
that.
there. I can see that too because the late great Ray Stevenson. Just throwing it out there is an interesting anecdote there.
R.I.P. the great Ray Stevenson.
R.I.P. That's right. As before, I guess when he was casting Warzone after that, and that's what happened. It threw him off, and that's what went with Roth. Despite Norton not really wanting to cast Ross, so it's an interesting dichotomy as well. But going on to the William Hurt of it all, you're absolutely right. William Hurt is a great choice. I know Sam Elliott when initially talked about potentially reprising the role because he played it in the Bana film in 2000, the Ang Lee 2003
Yep.
version. But I think it was a smart choice to separate yourself at that point. If you're going to separate yourself from that film, don't bring over that cast member, that actor there. Even though Sam Elliott, not a great actor in that role for
Oh,
sure.
100%.
But William Hurt just does this role perfectly for this film. Obviously, he passed away, and we get Harrison Ford in the role for Captain America: Brave New World. And Harrison Ford, I think, actually is more perfectly suited for Ross in that
Yes.
Thunderbolt Ross than he would be for this. But for this particular role, William Hurt plays it with the sternness,
That stubbornness.
the stubbornness that's there, like is the obsession about it. You think that he does love he loves Betty, but his obsession can get in the way of that, and that's what you see throughout the entire film. You see his hurt though when he does f up and live almost, and Betty almost bites it. You see that in his eyes in a way, like, and it's like, okay, see, this is a good actor who's playing those layers very, very well.
Yeah, no, he's fantastic in it. And it's, you really feel for him in some capacity because you feel like his obsession has just completely destroyed his relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so sad because in one way, you have to imagine that, like, he realizes that this is his doing, but he's blaming everyone else around him too. And he doesn't want to take accountability for it, which is honestly why when you get to the third act and Emil has been turned into the abomination and he's starting to attack Harlem, there's that moment where Betty and Banner and he are in the helicopter, and Banner looks at him and he goes, you may want this thing in my blood and you may not like me, but you need to send me down there
Right. That
because
was a great moment. We
we
did this.
created this. Like, the
We got to
three of
stop it.
us created this, and this is our problem now. Like,
Right.
this is our mess, and I will go clean it up. You have to allow me to do that.
Right. I know that was one of the better moments of the film. Absolutely. This is great. This is a very underrated third act for sure.
Dude, I'm gonna say it now. In all the time that I've waited for anything Hulk, like, until 2008, I should say, like, as a kid who I said this earlier, I was a kid who sat in front of a Circle K. I used to read comic books all the time. I would sit with an icy and gummy worms, and I would read Marvel comic books. I'd read Star Wars comic books. It was what I did all the time. And I'd waited my entire life to see the Hulk in Hulk action. And I'm
right.
not talking like just like leaping and fighting. I wanted to see Hulk going up against something that was his equal, that he was going to be able to go toe to toe with and fight with. The
Unleash.
Harlem sequence is one of the most underappreciated sequences in the entire MCU.
I agree.
One that we keep referencing back to now, weirdly enough, but every time I talk to anyone, this movie in general is pretty much written off. But the third act is great because Hulk and Abomination, yeah, I know it's two just CGI abominations to
It's a
people.
video game fight. I've heard that.
I've
Everybody's like,
heard
kind
that
of like,
too, but like, dude,
they're all
it's
video game
fucking
fights.
great.
They're all
And
video game fights to a degree. I gotta be honest with you. Like, there's so many different MCU fights that they're big comic book brawls. That's what they're gonna be.
yes.
They are that way. But I agree. This one is actually one of the better ones because of the care they took, because of the characterizations they took and put into it. And at the end, they're two like almost mindless monsters going at it, and yet the characters had been building for that time, so you know the stakes, and the
And you
stakes are
also
high.
realize how non-mindless they are as it
Right,
goes.
right, right. I mean, I'm not
You
talking
know?
minus the first. You're not talking a lot of
Oh, no, no,
conversations
no,
on
for
from down the
sure.
lines. But yeah, absolutely. This is like one of my favorite compared to like, especially these comparisons can't help now. Iron Man, did not like the third act. The
Yeah.
third act was kind of the worst part of the movie leading up to it. Hulk, this movie got better as it went along, and it kind of seemed to flow more as it went along. And bam, this third act was just what this film needed to end it, because there was no other way to end a Hulk movie than a
Oh.
big brawl with the Abomination.
You mean not, having your father turned into a giant gelatin sky bubble thing that sucks you up?
Something like that.
What a specific joke about a specific movie involving the Hulk. Yeah, weird how that works. Um, I love this whole thing because that moment when Banner decides to take it into his own hands, and he may or may not have been cured already, he doesn't really
Right.
know, so they drop him out of the helicopter, and when he does transform and Hulk comes out of the hole in the ground in front of the Apollo, and he grabs the piece of shirt off and he throws it down, and you just have this moment where they start charging each other. It's like you're watching a fucking badass boxing match, and it's like this shot of the Apollo right behind them as they go in to hit each other, and you're like, oh, it's fucking on. Like you're watching a big ass MMA fight almost with these
Yeah.
two. And there's this moment where Hulk grabs the car and he rips it in half and he uses it as boxing gloves. Are you kidding me? Get out of here. It's the coolest shit in the world. Yeah, maybe I'm a child. Maybe I just want to enjoy that shit. But like, I have a big ass smile on my face this entire third act.
Oh, absolutely. And it's that fist pump moment also, because when I love it, the Banner, we talked about Banner and Ross, we need to do this, you need to let me go. And he goes and he jumps out and he had that like, oh shit moment. I don't know, I'm not changing.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. And then like, now we know that the movie's not ending that way. Yes, audience, you're supposed to
What?
understand,
Wow.
right?
What if it did though?
The biggest subversion of everything. The end, Abomination wins. It's like, what? So
Who
you're
knew
waiting
that this
for
was
it.
The Empire Strikes Back?
Right. But when it happens, all of a sudden, boom, it happens, and you're waiting for it. But when that fist comes out, you're just like you fist pump with it. You're like, yes, here we go. It's drama. It leads up to that big fight. That big. I mean, you say MMA boxing. I would say it's hell. It's WWF. It's basically two cartoon
Yeah, fair enough.
rock characters like just going at it, and it is the big moment. It's the pop moment. The Hulk's music hit. Jim Ross is like, by God, that's the Hulk's music. This is gonna be. That's a really bad Jim Ross, but this is gonna be a slobber knocker. And you're like, oh, here we go. This is what we're gonna get now. And some great action beats there, throwing everybody around. The fighting sequences are so good, and then you have that moment with Hulk and Betty, where like Hulk is going to kill him. He's really going to.
Yes.
Betty stops him. There's a couple of moments that are like that Kong moment. It's the King Kong moment, and we
There's
have
a lot of that in this, actually.
Yeah,
Again,
absolutely.
it's totally a love letter to the Universal monsters and or Kong.
Mm-hmm. And that moment is what sets it aside, I think, and then they share it, and Hulk does not kill Abomination, and ends that way. What a great moment! What a great moment of everything else. The man in the monster is still there. He's not a monster like you think he is. Like, sure,
Yeah.
he is a monster, but he's not a monster, complete monster like you think he is. And whereas the whole movie spent with Banner fighting to keep the Hulk inside, the end, it's the Hulk making sure he maintains some of Banner inside,
Yeah.
and that's the
Even though
important
he
part.
doesn't necessarily want to all the time.
Right? No, absolutely. But it's there, and it's more important that the man is in the monster than the monster in the
Right.
man.
And honestly, that's one of the better things that Avengers dovetails off of with that relationship, because eventually, like, you do run into the big guy and Banner don't necessarily get along. And
Right?
like that's a big part of that movie is how much the big guy and Banner don't necessarily always see eye to eye.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so the fact that we have that moment here, it leads to that later, and I like that a lot because it's one of the few times it happens. And man, the campus fight very similarly is really cool because that's another one where you really see the big guy come out because he's trapped. He doesn't know really where to go, and he's also still trying to protect Betty because Betty
Mhm.
is on that campus, and this is the only way he knows how to do it. And I gotta say, it's really cool watching this scene in this movie in general, but this campus scene in particular, before, like, out of context of everything, because knowing Emil has taken the super soldier serum, it's our first look at what it's going to be like to see a Captain America on film.
I was actually going to say that too, because there's this moment where the military starts rushing towards the Hulk, and you see Emil running super fast and they're blowing past him. It's
Yeah,
completely a callback later on when you see Cap and Black Panther running towards the Thanos' minions in Infinity War, where they outpace everybody else easily and they get to the front of the
yeah.
line. Same type of thing, except for this guy's the bad guy. So that's the only difference.
Well, not just that, the way he's athletic, jumping off the tree, using stuff as the
Bounces back and forth.
shield.
Yeah.
Like, we start to see what it's going to look like to see a Captain America on
Right.
film. And I love that. Like, it's such a cool idea
Yeah.
and it's so different. And I love that.
Me too. Me too. The campus sequence is both about. I mean, Harlem is great. I think campus sequence might be even more of a favorite of mine because it's the slow build to that, and Hulk or Norton Banner is trapped in the overpass there, and you can see the change and the fight sequence come on. The funny part to me is I always watch this, and I always have the same question: the soldiers keep shooting guns at him, and he's bouncing off. At some point, like, why are you wasting bullets? Like,
Yeah.
it's like I guess you're trying to shoot him in the eye. You're trying to find a weakness. What else are you gonna do? But like I said, kind of like you're doing is pissing him off.
Yeah.
That's pissing him off at
Well,
this
and
point.
yeah, and so then they have the Stark Tech, which again, another one of the little like nice world building moments of using the Stark Tech to try to bring him down,
Yep.
and this idea that I don't even know. I guess it's emitting some sort of
Sonic
sound wave or sonic
wing.
waves
Yeah.
that kind of hamper him, and I really, really love that. This
I also
movie was
love that let me interject real quick. I love the fact that they don't exactly necessarily tell you everything that does because you don't need to know. You
no,
just all of the story needs is this is something that actually is affecting the whole. Oh, okay.
mhm,
They should use it. Do I need to know why or how necessarily?
no,
No, you don't need to. That's a comic book thing. Okay. It's something like that. That's what
a hundred
and
percent,
that's what they keep doing, trying new stuff instead of like just to fire the regular bullets. But I do love that the bullets lead to a couple of soldiers. Fuck moments. And the whole gets close like
It's so good, dude. Again, this whole sequence is just super well put together, and I love the transformation. And this is also where we see the Hulk for the first time in his full
yep.
glory, because
Right.
once he breaks out of the glass, that's that slow motion shot of him like going through the air, and he lands on the ground in front of the military, and you're like, oh fuck.
In
And I'm
full
gonna say it
sunlight.
now. I know that a it's weirdly kind of controversial, but I really like his design in this.
Yeah.
I've always really liked the Hulk design in this. He's lean, he's sleek, and he looks a lot like the Norton version of what I anticipate the Hulk to look like. I know that I also like the version of him we eventually get in the Avengers, where he's a little bit more. It sounds weird, but he's almost more ape-like, his stance and everything.
Yeah. I gotta
Because
ask, let me ask you a question,
yeah,
thinking of like the Hulk designs and stuff. What are your thoughts on how it gets more like Ruffalo-esque? 'Cause
I don't mind it.
okay. I
Uh,
don't like it, to be honest with you.
I get it. I 100% I understand it. I think it's not so bad because you're getting a version that has become Smart Hulk. And so because it's the mix between Banner and the big guy, I think it's okay in that regard. I understand why people may not like it,
Right.
but I think in the context of what they're doing, I don't mind it so much because, like, in the first Avengers movie and even Age of Ultron, they haven't really melded that way yet, and
Right.
so because of that, he still looks more like the big guy.
Right.
But once they are the mix between the 2, I don't mind him having the face.
'Cause I will say it makes sense, and I understand, and hell, even being almost hypocritical because I just mentioned how it's so important to have the man and the monster, and that really kind of showcases that the man is in the monster. But for
Right.
me, it always kind of threw me off because it seems Hulk should always be intimidating. And I feel like the Ruffalo face makes it less intimidating. Like it just feels like it's almost like it's like Lou Ferrigno in a way. It's like Mark Ruffalo just got painted green, and I know it's not exactly like that, but
No, no,
like
no,
I
sure.
like the separation of it. Makes it more like that's the
And
Hulk.
again, totally get it. I just think that once you cross the Rubicon into, oh, they've kind of melded into one being,
Mm.
that I don't necessarily mind that it's a mix between the 2.
I
Um,
understand it. I definitely
yeah,
understand it.
it's just for me, it's like one of those. I get why people may not like it. For me, it's really not a big deal. I also kind of appreciate that it means that we actually get to see Ruffalo more in the role
That
comparatively. Um, because you run into unlike a lot of heroes, you could take the mask off, right? Tom Holland can take a mask off and you could see Spider-Man as Tom Holland fighting.
right.
When the hulks out, you're not necessarily able to take a mask off. Like that is a big green monster.
Yeah,
And so like in this movie in particular, there's a little bit of Norton in the eyes, there's a little bit of Norton in the face, but it's not a lot. It's clearly the big green guy.
right. I
And I don't mind that.
I think part of it for me is and this is more of a overall, not criticism is the wrong word, but Marvel and movies in general have all obviously gone much further in the direction of CGI and stuff. You
Oh,
have
sure.
the arguments about like the nano masks and stuff. I know it's easier for filming, it's easier on performers, whatever. But to me, I always tend to prefer when it's more practical because it
Sure.
feels more real, and that is what it feels to me. This feels like this design feels more, even though it's like more CG graphic oriented. Like having not have his face, it just feels like it's more real of what we would get in a way.
Sure.
It's more tactical. It's more
Yeah.
tactile, I guess, in a way. But again,
No argument.
minor nitpick, but that's why I do like this design very well, very much so.
Yeah. I do think that, the thing I like when they get to the next movie with him is that he is a little bit, like, more hunched over like an ape and stuff like that. Kind of more he's closer to the '60s version of the character,
Mhm.
honestly.
Yeah.
The one in this is walking on 2 legs pretty easily and
Right,
acting like he's the coolest thing on campus, and,
right.
he kind of is at
It
that
is. Yeah.
time, which I love,
Yeah.
but this entire sequence, it works really well. It's super fun, and this movie has a lot more action than Iron Man does, and,
Mm.
it's so funny and so interesting, and it goes a long way of, like, I like Johnny Favs, but he's not really an action director yet at that
Right.
time, and so you look at this movie, and it's like they got a dude who knows how to do action, and it shows.
Yep. Yeah. Because the action is, like you said, spot on. Like sometimes, like it's like the action bits are the least favorite parts of these films sometimes because they get so sloppy, they get so unfocused, whatever. These are some of the best sequences are the action sequences. He really knows how to shoot it. He knows how to let things linger at the right times. It's not a bunch of quick cuts, not a bunch of fast. Like we're gonna speed this up so you can like it's
Yeah,
chaotic. Oh my god, I feel like no, you see what's going on. You can kind of feel that horror when the stuff comes in. You get to watch when like as William Hurt comes when Hulk grabs Betty and the missiles are coming down and like and he covers her. You see that with him, and you get to have that breath of like, oh shit, I know
yeah,
she's probably not going to die, but like, oh shit, it's
yeah.
a great moment of pausing there.
No, right, and I'm really glad that someone like Leterrier was involved in this because, again, he just knows how to take those moments, and it's done in, like, a slow motion beat, which I really
Mm,
appreciate because you
mm,
really get a feel for Ross has put his daughter into the middle of all of this, and
mm,
here's Banner being the one protecting her. Who's the real monster here? And
absolutely.
that's why the moment the little bit of stuff that Ty Burrell has left in the movie that I really like is the moment when, he does confront Ross on the doorstep of the house and he goes, "I used to wonder why she never talked about you, and now I know." And
That
just that.
scene
Oh, dude.
is awesome. That's one of the better like scenes in the movie. I actually really, really dig. I almost wish there was more of it. I got to be honest with you, I completely forgot. I don't know how I forgot it, but I forgot Ty Burrell was playing Doc Samson. I remember Ty Burrell being in the movie. I remember like being like Liz Other, then like he mentioned something about being she's doing a psychologist and he's one of the best. And it was like, that's Doc Samson, isn't it? I'm like,
Mhm.
yes, it's Doc Samson.
And we were supposed to get more with him.
We were, I know, but that scene was great. That moment, that little dig at Ross is so
You know,
perfectly done.
it's a point of professional courtesy for me to know when someone's lying, and you
Yes.
are. What a
Yeah.
great delivery. The way he says it, the way he looks him dead in the eyes too when he says it is just fucking awesome, and you're like, "God damn, dude, like, he's so good."
Yeah, he really is. He really is. He's underrated, and I wish he had more. I wish he had more of it. So, uh,
Oh,
yeah,
man, it's so good, and you know what? I gotta say, I'm so glad that Liv Tyler came back finally also, because
yeah,
I like her as Betty Ross.
I do too.
I don't think she gets enough to do, but I liked her relationship a lot with Edward Norton specifically in this. I think that they're really good together. I really hope that we see her with Ruffalo. I
It would be
really
interesting.
do.
That would be interesting. I will say, you say she didn't have a lot to do, and part of that is definitely dictated by story because it
Yes.
comes across where like we have to take a long time to get to see her,
Mhm.
because Banner takes a long time to get back to her.
Oh, right.
But she does do well when she is in there. I'll give you that absolutely. They have those moments together that are nice. So we mentioned the subway moment when they're on the run. Get the moment, the
The
campus, the
potential love
calm
scene is
moments.
amazing.
Love scene, wonderful stuff. Exactly, and she is smart. She comes across well, and I love her conversations with her father. She stands up to Ross, to General Ross, as it is, very well, and those sequences are also very strong. Although I will say, going back to the campus thing, what for as smart of a character as Ross is strategically and militarily, and I guess it's supposed to showcase how obsessed he is and how the obsession has definitely been denigrating in his like kind of overshadows everything else he does. What did he expect was going to happen when like Betty's on there and he's ordering them to fire at him and Betty's on the camp? Like also
Well,
that
he's
moment
not
where
a
he has to
smart
protect her.
man, as it turns out.
It's like you're like, but also he goes, "Oh wait, oh shoot!" It's like you just like did you do she was there? Like what did you think was going to happen? But
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Did you there's a small reference also in the campus sequence once it showing all the footage of everything that's happened, but one of the characters is a character from the TV show and the comic book, and I'm trying to remember which one, but it's like the journalist character.
Okay.
He's talking to the but he's a kid on the campus, but he's a journalist later in the comics and the TV show. I
Right.
always
Right.
like that. It's one of those, like, small pieces of
Right.
building out for fans that like this stuff, and I always thought that was fun.
Oh yeah, I love those fun little moments. Like those are what I live for. Honestly, those are great. As long as the rest of the movie works, which this one does for me. So that's what it's good. They don't have to waste if they're not wasting your time by like doing that kind of stuff like at the expense of a good movie. Then it's
Mhm.
fine. But when it's like supporting a good movie, then it's brilliant. It's
Well,
brilliant.
I mean, this movie does a little bit of that throughout too, right? Because there's also the Lou Ferrigno cameo, which
Love
is
that.
super wonderful
Yep.
because it's a little nod, obviously, to the fact that he played Hulk in the
Mhm.
TV show. The fact that he gets bribed with pizza by Norton's Banner to get into the campus to get the information is so good, and the I got an extra medium here, for you if you want it. And he lets him in.
I'm
God
in.
bless you, brother. Yeah.
That's brother doing that.
So good. It's a little moment. I love that. And God, it's just so funny also to be like, they take their campus security, they're real seriously. You see how fucking big that guy is?
Mhm.
You try to fuck around on campus, that dude's gonna rip you in half.
Unless you're the Hulk.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yes,
Or you
absolutely.
give him a pizza.
Like in pizza, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that I get that. That's why Spirit Animal too. You can
Yeah.
ply me with pizza almost every anytime. That's why I don't
Well,
like
I
the
also
security.
gotta say, it's funny because this is a retroactive thing, but then there's a cameo by Martin Starr.
Right? Yes.
And Martin Starr is playing his character Roger Harrington
Right.
from Spider-Man. And I
Right.
love that. I love that he's this dude who is on campus during the Hulk attack and stuff, and then later he's Peter's teacher.
Right.
Like, hey, what a small thing. They've done a lot of that in the MCU, and
Yeah.
I kinda dig that.
Yeah. Absolutely. They do that. And even like today, they're doing like in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man has that character that's in. Have you watched Your Friendly Neighborhood?
No,
Oh, anything more than spoiler.
I do want to. You can talk about it. I don't care necessarily if it's a spoiler or not because it's a TV show. It's not gonna
Okay.
bother me.
I mean, we're eventually going to cover it, so you're gonna eventually going to see it because technically it is MCU, theoretically.
Uh, well,
Mm.
yeah, but isn't it like multiverse MCU? Like,
I think it counts officially. Well, I mean, it is, but yeah, well, it's definitely a different universe at that point. But it is
yeah,
still technically tied. I think it kind of. I don't know. We'll have to discuss as we get far. But that's years down the road before we get there.
at this point, yeah, it sure is.
We had a conversation before we hit record. We have like we're at like the end of 2026 by the time all this is starting. We're not even done yet. This is like phase 3 or phase 4. We're gonna have to eventually take some breaks in between phases, I think, in order so this doesn't become just an MCU podcast. Uh, but we do love it too. It's not like it's a bad thing necessarily. But yeah, no, I won't talk much about it. There is a character that kind of is recurring that definitely has appeared other places. You're like, oh, it's not like done anything else. He's just the background, but he keeps kind of appearing. You're like, oh, okay, that's nice. I like how they're keeping the world built. It's a strong entry into it. And by the way, you would love that show. I really think you would love that show.
I know. I kept putting it off. I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't thrilled by the shit that the dude who voiced Peter was saying
Yeah.
in the lead up to the show coming out, and
Mhm.
it kind of put me off watching it, to be honest.
I gotta tell you, watching the show, I'm wondering, like, if he was saying it ironically, because there's some stuff in there that
Well, no, I know,
like
but that was my
fired out.
point. Was more, I
Yeah,
was just like, "Are you the dumbest person alive?" Like, and it just made me mad.
yeah.
So then I just didn't watch it.
Get it. I get
And
it.
I know
So I
that,
get it.
like, I know Charlie Cox is in it. Like, I know that there's a few people in it, so
It's
I
very
should check it
intelligent.
out.
There's some
Yeah.
great subversions of the Spider-Man mythos and everything else. They take things
Okay.
different ways than you'd expect. You're like, oh, that's kind of very interesting to see. And the animation style, which is almost off-putting when you watch the trailer and stuff, you're kind of like,
Yeah,
oh, I
because
don't
it's
really
very
like it.
comic booky.
But it is very that the specific choice, and when you watch it, it works so well. This is the closest I've ever seen a show look like a legitimate comic book at times, and
Okay.
it's awesome.
Okay. You know
Really
what?
beautiful.
Maybe I'll finally sit down this week and watch it because it's
They're
only,
quick.
what, 8 episodes, I
I think
think?
it's I think 8 to 10 or something. It might be 8, but they're all quick, got like 30-minute type shit episodes
Yeah,
and
yeah,
everything
yeah.
else, and really good. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I really honestly think it's right up your alley, to be honest with
No, dude, I was so amped for it. I liked everything I saw, and then motherfucker opened his mouth during the press tour, and I was all, "Cool. Like, here's how you make me not wanna watch a thing." Like,
you. Right,
why did you do that?
right, yeah.
Why are you saying stupid things? Like,
I
come
agree.
on,
I
man.
get it, get it.
Uh, I do think that was also a potential floating of a balloon. I had this conversation with one of my other friends, my friend Corey, who I've called out here in the past, because I was like, it felt like they were also floating the balloon to try to get people to watch it, a certain
Mm,
subsect of people, without it,
maybe.
you know,
Right, right.
without
Could
rocking
be.
the boat. And I was like, well, there's better ways to do that than also alienating other people by saying that.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely he definitely just should shut his mouth, honestly, it's not
and,
but
and I don't mean like people shouldn't say stuff, but don't be stupid.
yeah, agreed,
Anyway,
agreed.
Anyway,
Uh,
you know what? Actually, did you ever watch the I mean, this is a stupid question. You watched the Spider-Man cartoon growing up in the 90s, right?
the funny thing is I actually didn't for a while.
Oh, shit.
I recently have watched some of it because my son got really into it. I've had to watch Spectacular Spider-Man with him, and he
Yeah,
loves
yeah.
Spectacular
Spectacular
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's great.
And it's fine. I wish that actually had an ending. It kind
Me
of just
too.
kind of appeared up. The '90s version, I've watched some of that as well. I haven't watched all of that, but I did like it. I really missed it. I was a snob and never really liked '90s like animation stuff. I
Sure.
didn't watch Batman when it originally came out and everything else. I was never into that animation trail. I never watched Master of the Phantasm
Got
until
it.
much later on, kind of thing. I eventually learned my lesson and was like, "You're an idiot."
You are, but that's
I,
beside the point.
I think the Clone Wars is what got me into it. I was like, they
I
can
could
really
see
do
that.
some good stuff with this. Maybe I
I
should go back and check some of the stuff out.
So it's so interesting because a lot of my love, and I think a lot of what Feige has done with the MCU Obviously, he uses the comics as the big basis, but
Right.
like so much of what I feel like the basis of the MCU has built off of is the way that the stories are told in that specifically that Spider-Man series.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was asking, because I see so much of what we have now from that show, and I'm fascinated by it.
Me too. Me too. It's
Yeah.
part of the soup. It's absolutely part of the soup.
Yeah.
Because it's
Well,
showing
and
you
that's
can do it.
why, dude, you watched X-Men 97, right?
Yes, loved X-Men 97.
Okay.
Loved it.
Dude, when
Talk about a guy who shut his mouth
Spider-Man
though.
pops in during the whatever episode when the blackout happens and he's in New York and you see
Yes.
him and you hear the theme, I fucking lost it.
That's so
And
good.
they said that it is not potentially the last time we've seen that version of Spider-Man. And I was like, oh my God, please. Like, I would do anything. I'm getting chills thinking about it. I was like, please give me that version of Spider-Man again, because I will lose my mind.
We'll have to see. Actually, I know obviously that changed showrunners too. That has its own drama stuff going on, unfortunately. So who knows if it's going to take that. Hopefully it takes that direction, runs with it. I don't know. I will say, a little tease for your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, a certain voice actor from Spectacular Spider-Man does make an appearance at some point.
That's what I heard.
So it's interesting.
I thought that was interesting. I heard about that. I'm very curious. Well, they also did that with Invincible very similarly.
Yes. I love the fact that Invincible, this week, when we're recording this, by the way, I'll say it again. We're recording this on March 11th. Invincible season finale, season 3 finale is coming up. It could be actually season 4 by the time we watch season 3 finale is coming out, and they had the rematch of Stephen Yeun versus Jeffrey Dean Morgan, which is phenomenal. I love seeing that.
I need to catch up on Invincible. I've still only seen the first 2 episodes.
Oh, the entire series?
Uh-huh.
Oh wow! I can't say that because honestly, that's my son. My son, I've talked about how he loves animation and stuff, and he has sat me down to watch this with him, and so I watched it with him on my own. When I have watched it, probably eventually, but he has definitely made it a priority with him. Okay, so I've watched the entire thing. I'm caught up now, ready to go.
It's so funny. Number one, my nephew is the coolest. I'm so proud he's making you a better human because you watch animated things now.
Yes.
It was Sean Sullivan who he sat me down on StreamYard one day because I kept putting it off, and he was like, you need to watch this, and he made me watch the first 2 episodes, and I loved it, and then I just never finished it.
Right.
Like, I liked what I saw.
Yeah. And it's actually short. It's like they're only 8 episode seasons or whatever. And,
I still need to watch the last season of The Boys too. I'm ridiculously behind.
Yeah, I guess so. Oh well.
Yeah, well, shit happens.
That's what
it is. What it is.
You have to podcast where you watch MCU films.
Well, it's you know what? I'm glad we're doing this though, because I really enjoyed rewatching this. Like I think it comes through in how we've been talking about it. But I really enjoyed rewatching this because, again, I think even sometimes I forget how much I enjoy this movie.
The funny thing is, too, I mentioned this. I don't remember if it was you I was talking to or somebody else. I think it was you I was talking to about it. As I get older, I don't rewatch things as much. Like I tended to when I was younger. I would like Star Wars a movie would come out. I would watch it 30 times. Nowadays, like I think it's because it's like I'm getting older. I'm seeing it, like my immortality is fading, and I'm like, I got so much I want to watch. I don't really tend to go back unless it's like a comfort thing. Like I'll throw on Doctor Who as a comfort thing, or maybe Ted Lasso as a kind of a comfort thing. But I don't go back to a lot of movies. There's a lot of movies that have come out now I've only watched once, maybe twice. So again, this podcast has let me go back and kind of forces me to rewatch some of my favorite films because we do these films always like Nightmare on Elm Street. We just did those. I haven't watched those in years, and I got to go back and rewatch that entire saga because I was forced to, quote unquote, forced to.
Yeah, right.
And you know who else? Like our patron, our good friend Brandon Buckingham, who's in our chat. We announced this. He's like, "Hey, thanks for giving me an excuse to rewatch." I'm like, there you go. So we're doing it for other people as well. We are doing this for you and for us.
And for us. Honestly, it's so funny because it was the one reason, like, I still hope one day to be a dad. Because the one reason I want to is to have an excuse to be able to like watch all these through someone else's eyes, or Star Wars or Indiana Jones. Like, I know that sounds so silly, but it's so true because I don't need an excuse to rewatch Indiana Jones. I'm going to do it. Like, it doesn't really matter. But
we're 1 minute 18 seconds and we almost got a Dial of Destiny reference. So it was kind of.
You mean an hour, not a minute?
An hour, sorry, an hour and 19 minutes in, and we were almost we just went from the scorecard. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I'll probably put on Dial of Destiny tonight at the bar. Actually, I've put it on once a week now.
Right.
I put it on
Good.
once a week at the bar
Good.
because I'm gonna make people fall in love with that movie whether they like it or not.
Good. Good.
I'm a I'm a good bartender.
That's a movie I haven't rewatched, and I really should. I know you yell at me about it rewatching all the time, and I should. I absolutely should, but
Motherfucker,
I
get
haven't.
on it.
I watched it for our podcast. That was like my first watches for our podcast, and I have never really even gone back to it. I loved it.
Uh,
I
I saw
loved
it
it.
3 times in theaters. I've
Yeah.
watched it too many times to count since it hit home video.
You know
I
how many times I've seen PJ texting me going, "Yeah, watching Dial of Destiny. This thing is a banger." I'm like, I know.
I can't stop watching it, dude. I don't know what it is. How does every podcast now become, "Here's my, obligatory Dial of Destiny reference
You know,
time," you
I, I
know?
I should put in there about 5 minutes ago. I talked about rewatching. I did mention Doctor Who, so that we got
Yeah.
that reference in as well. Uh,
Yeah, I noticed it. I wasn't gonna say anything, uh, but, it's just one of those things,
we're a little
and
predictable.
we are, and that's okay. And I think honestly, it's so funny that you bring up the thing about rewatching stuff because I think part of why I rewatch so much stuff, and especially now that I have more time on my hands, like having more time allows me to find the comfort again in rewatching
Sure.
things and enjoying things. I'm big on enjoying life.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily need to see everything that comes out. I like to watch new things. Don't get me wrong. I watch a lot of new things.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said about watching shit that you love and finding new things in it, finding enjoyment in that. And I really lean on that now. And so that's part of why doing this has been so great and
Right.
just enjoying that stuff because I always do find new things. I
Right.
enjoy a lot of why we do this.
Great.
And so I joke about like forcing people to love Dial of Destiny, but it's also because I legitimately do want people to see what I see.
Yeah.
And you've said it before, I'm very well spoken in the way that I love things. And I have like a very specific point of view. And I know that my point of view isn't for everyone, but if I unlock a thing in you, I have changed people's opinions on shit.
Mhm.
I've done it to you.
Mm.
I got the bar to get me going about why Die Hard was a Christmas movie last year. And I ended up having like a 10-minute TED talk where at the end of it, this dude who was sitting at the bar who was like not involved in the conversation looked at me, goes like dead serious, goes, I spent my whole life saying it was not a Christmas movie and you just changed my mind. This man was in his 50s.
Nice. Nice.
Like, but the point being is that like I have a very specific point of view and I find the way, I find that thing. And that all being said, we should talk about The Incredible Hulk more as like a movie
Yeah.
because it is actually really good. And I think it gets lost in the space of the
Mm.
MCU. It is the Ed Norton of it all. It is just that it was the second movie. It's because of how far this series has come.
That's
Like,
part of it too, is the fact is like, again, this is so early on, like MCU, one of the best parts of the MCU for the fans, the fact is the connectivity and the drama. Like Infinity War Endgame, they built up that. It's about the building up to that part. And when you have seen it a couple of times, you kind of tend to skip the first couple. You're like, okay, let's get to the parts where we are really headlong into it. We don't need the building blocks as much. And this is a building block. And that's what kind of makes it a bit forgettable in terms of the overall. When you have 30 plus projects going on, you're going to forget some. And this is unfortunately one of those
well,
that are forgotten.
and I even said it in the Iron Man episode, right? Where part of the thing is truthfully, when I go back to watch some of these movies, I tend to pick up some of the later stories. I
Mhm,
like catching these characters in a different place. Like I will
mhm,
go back and watch No Way Home or Iron Man 3 or, some of those mid like Winter Soldier, Civil War because I like where I find those characters.
mhm.
That said, I mean, I will revisit First Avenger all day every day. It's the one movie from Phase 1 that I'll watch more than anything.
And the Joe Johnson of it all works for you, I
It's
know.
the Joe Johnston of it all. And it looks like The Rocketeer, it looks
No,
like Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, they make Raiders part of the MCU in some capacity with
yeah,
one reference. Like there's a reason I love that movie so much.
and I love it as well. Can't wait to get back to it, honestly.
I know we're only 2 movies away from it,
I
right?
know, I
3?
know, I know.
2? Well,
I,
it's 3 movies from now, but there's 2 movies between.
I will say, I have to tell you guys all, like, if you haven't understood us by now or you don't understand who we are, like, we generally love the entire MCU. And like, there's people like, you're not going to get a lot of rage from us about any of the MCU. Even the ones we
No.
don't like as much, we still find a lot to love.
Well, yeah, and if you're I tend to err on the side of I don't believe that inherently there are a lot of bad movies. I think most movies are inherently pretty decent. Like
Mhm.
I will always err on the side of that because number one, it's impossible to make a movie and let alone a good movie.
Right.
Um, the fact that there are that many that can be just good is a testament to Marvel for even getting this far. So for me, like even at their worst, they're watchable. And that's more than I can say for some of the DC projects, unfortunately. And that's not to like take a swing, but like when you compare the two, it's like there are many movies that are based on DC comics that I will probably never watch again.
Right.
Versus
Unless we do it.
right.
I will say
Versus
there are a
this.
couple of DC products that I haven't even watched once yet.
Yeah.
I still have not watched Black Adam. I still have not watched the second Shazam. I still have
I
not
still
seen Blue
haven't
Beetle.
I didn't see Blue Beetle. I hated the second Shazam,
I've
which is a
heard that.
bummer because I really liked the first one.
Yeah, I did too. I liked the first Shazam quite a bit, so I agree. I'm sorry to hear that it was that bad, but
Yeah, I
mhm.
legitimately hated it, which is such a bummer because love the cast, like well, loved most of the cast. Uh, I, fuck Zachary Levi, man. What a bummer. What a bummer. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. I know that we have gone totally completely off the rails.
yeah,
And that's pretty much par of the course for us. The Incredible Hulk is a movie that continues to be really good. I think it actually stands up to a lot of the better MCU films. I would have been so curious if Marvel had actually put out the like longer cut of this movie that Leterrier and Norton had been kind of working on together. I'd have been very curious to see what
yeah.
that actually looked like, especially if it has a lot of the stuff with Stearns back in.
Right, yeah,
And of course, like we were talking about, Samson.
right.
So, because both of them were supposed to have a little more to do.
Yeah,
And we really haven't talked about this, but I really like the stuff with Tim Blake Nelson as Samuel Stearns. I like that relationship with him and Banner. I like the way it plays out. I love that he's actually like really kind of a creepy little gremlin man that is legitimately actually obsessed with Banner and this idea of the gamma radiation poisoning. I think
yeah.
it's a fantastic turn.
I love how it develops. Like they have the Mr. Blue, Mr. Green thing, and he
Yes.
reveals Mr. Blue. It's this nice little nod to comic book fans. Who the comic fans know who Samuel Stearns is. The rest of the general audience probably had no idea. Then you see him like when you and if you don't have any idea, you just meet this guy who seems like he's a good guy who wants to help Banner out. And then as like you kind of get these layers off, you see he's experimenting, and you hear like and he gets to the point where Emil Blonsky starts talking to him. You're like, and he's like, I'm not saying I won't do it. I just need you to know what's going on. And he gets like more and more like, oh, he's not a good guy. This is a dangerous individual. And it kind of colors the, no pun intended, blue green, the relationship up until that moment and like what Banner had gone through to get there. It's a very nice drawn out kind of thing and gives you, it's a way that you have a secondary villain in the comic movie, which is always kind of a touchy subject because like sometimes like a lot of
Yeah.
times they can overshadow, you only need one villain or something. This is a nice second villain which leads to years later another
Also,
appearance later on that is a good villain of his own.
did you notice in this is obviously jumping ahead to the newest movie, the song choice that he uses in the movie is all about blue.
Mm-hmm.
What a
Mm-hmm.
great callback.
It's a great call. It's a wonderful callback.
It's a
They did a
wonderful
lot of good
callback.
callbacks with that.
I thought
Speaking
that
of
was so cool. I was all,
uh
"Oh, I love this." Like, I love this so much. It made me so happy.
Speaking of music callbacks, I will say I love the fact that like it goes under it's understated. There's a couple of times where they literally play a version of the TV theme song underneath. That
They do the
really
sad
highlights
walking
the
away music,
sad
and it makes
walking
me
away music.
happy.
Exactly,
Do, do,
exactly.
do. Yeah, it just hits such a certain
It's
way, and when you see him walking up because he's got all, like he's holding the pants because he needs to
right,
get new pants, and it's
right,
just
right.
that I love that sad piano walking away music.
Me
It's
too.
so perfect. What a great nod.
Yeah, perfect nod for that. The whole score honestly is underrated. The score
Craig
is
Armstrong's
very
a
epic.
pretty good composer.
And no one ever talks about this score very much, but I really appreciate it's understated when it needs to be. It has the proper callbacks when it needs to be, and yet it has epic, powerful moments when it needs to be as well. It just knows what it's doing. Yeah, I think it's a very underrated score.
No, it is. Actually, I was thinking that a lot while I was watching it because, like, I actually have the film's opening piece of music from that whole title sequence, which is actually just a remake of the opening of the TV show, which I love,
Right.
with
But
extra
what a great
flourishes.
way. Yeah, what a great way to we talked yesterday or last whatever, an Iron Man
Last
episode.
episode.
The last episode, we talked last episode about that we don't like the origin story is being having to be retold and retold and retold and Batman and the Wayne's deaths and stuff. But this is a perfect way to do it. And that they showcase in like the beginning, they kind of let you know this is what happened, this is where we are, but you don't need to go through the whole thing to showcase how we got here. Like it's not like a 20 they didn't have to spend 20 minutes showing Banner take the test, becoming Hulk for the first time. He's been the Hulk before. He's already been the Hulk
Mhm.
already. He knows what he's doing. So, but instead they just do it in this kind of recappy opening sequence. You see it happen. You're like, cool. All right. So here's the refresher. This is what has happened. That's not our movie. Our movie is past that. We are headlong into this movie now of this part of Banner's story, and that's what
Yes.
gives it time to work and do its own thing.
I love that. And the piece of music over it is brilliant,
Top notch.
and
Top notch.
it's honest, it sounds like a monster movie
Yeah.
music, and I have it on my playlist of, like, I have it's a 40-hour playlist. I think Paul has a link to it. It's on Spotify. But I have, like, it's basically just movie score music, and it's one of the
Mm,
pieces that I have on there because I find it so memorable and so fun to listen to.
yeah.
Um, God, this movie I know we've said it a bunch. I just feel like it gets so lost in the shuffle, but I love how it all comes together. I like that we finally got payoffs.
Yeah.
After all
Yeah.
this time, like, it feels really nice to finally get payoff to some of the stuff with the potential of the leader, and I'm so happy about that. I'm so happy that we're seeing more with, Ross. We've seen a lot more with Ross in the
Right.
MCU over the last few years.
Mhm.
Like, it's been great. I'm glad that we're actually getting more of Banner. I think that all things being equal, for how far the MCU has come, we forget how important this movie ultimately is in, like, the structuring and the build of what the MCU has become. But I also think it was a testament to what you could do with Hulk on film. And I think that a lot of what the third act shows is a lot of what you get to see him do later in Avengers. I don't
Mhm.
think Avengers ends up being as fun and goes the way with Hulk that it does if we don't have the Harlem fight
Yeah.
in this
Agree.
movie. So this movie is actually really consequential to what you can do with Hulk on film.
Absolutely 100%. And like this is again a building block for the MCU. It's necessary, it's needed, and it does its job well. So I don't understand why it's. I mean, I mentioned I understand why it's forgotten because of all those things we mentioned before. But some people like literally don't. They'll say that it's a bad movie, and I'm like, I don't see how
I
it's a
don't see
bad
that.
movie in any way, shape, or form. Is there some chaotic energy to it? Is there a better movie in the vault? Possibly, possibly,
Yeah,
quite
possibly.
possibly. They could have delved into a few things a little bit more. We could have got a better more from the Doc Samson part of it. We could have had more from Betty and Banner together. But it does everything it needs to do for the MCU. Um, does it do everything it needs to do for its own movie? No, but it does enough. It does enough in that it's passable that way.
No, 100%, man. Look, again, I'm not gonna argue here that it's, like, the best movie in the MCU or anything, but it's really, really good.
People have it at
And
the bottom of their list, and I'm always like, bottom? Really? This?
I
Okay.
think it's a lot closer to, like, mid-tier MCU. Maybe I'll be surprised where it ends up once we continue moving forward, just ratings and wise for this. But,
I'm
like,
very interested to see where all of our things end up pretty much, to be completely
yeah,
honest.
I mean, the impossible task, honestly, because I don't think we even try to do it at that point because there's gonna be a lot of movies that are gonna share ratings and things like that.
Right.
Ranking this stuff when it's all said and done is gonna be real weird, and even
I
trying to is gonna
You
be
know what I
almost
might
impossible.
pitch? I might pitch on air here. I might pitch it here. Maybe instead of doing our normal rating, we can rate every movie, but at the end of the day, we'll put up a tier list of like, so we don't have
Yeah,
to rank specific movies like
uh,
S tier 5-star stuff. Like so not gonna put
that's
anything
probably the
over
way to
it.
do it.
Because then, like, it's because there are so many. It's you get to the minutia of like, well, is this 4-star movie better than this 4-star movie? Is
Yeah, and
this
I don't
like,
wanna
and
do
it's
that.
like, yeah, it's a waste of time. It's a good movie. They're both
It's
right around the same time. It's a tie. It's okay to be a tie.
yeah, and, again, a 5-star The Godfather and a 5-star The Tommy Boy are 5 stars for different reasons. Like,
100%.
and that is always my go-to because people look at me like I'm crazy, but like I look at Tommy Boy with the same reverence that I look at The Godfather. And
Yeah.
they're for two varied, like for many different reasons, but I revere them both very, very greatly for different things.
One's a great film, and one is a very entertaining film, and that's okay to have both different things
Yeah.
entirely. I will say, I know, and I'll put it. I'm going to put this out here as well, just to throw it out there to whoever's listening. If you, if you don't be pedantic about it, like please don't be pedantic, because at the end of the day, we will give a number star for every
Yeah.
show, every movie we do. But I think you could see something happening where a 3.5-star movie is rated over a 4-star movie as far as like in the tiers go, because that's what happens possibly sometimes. It might be a 3.5-star movie, but I enjoy it more, so I'm going to put up in this tier. That might be what ends up happening. So we'll have maybe that's what we'll do at the end of every
Do an entire
phase.
episode.
We'll do it, and at every phase we'll just do this is where we stand now
Yeah.
kind of thing. Maybe that'll be just Patreon exclusive. Maybe I'll stay Patreon exclusive. I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk.
Out.
We'll talk more as we go through. A lot of pitching we're doing as we're winging it a little bit as we go along.
Us? No. There was some joke last night in our Patreon chat about how we would stay totally on topic an entire episode, and we were like, the last episode, the Iron Man episode, was amazing because we never went off topic at all. Yeah. And then you listen to this one, and it's like, boy, howdy, did we just like steamroll 20 minutes on entirely other things that it was all related in some capacity. Like I always was able to bring it home.
To be fair, the funniest bit about this is we do have a time limit today. Like we're a little under crunch because of everything going on. Like I said at the top of the episode, we actually didn't do our normal like 20-minute banter about everything else in the world first, like at the beginning. We pretty much went right into Incredible Hulk, but then we did kind of go off kilter a lot in the middle. And it's fine it happened because it all actually definitely was more related more often than not. At least MCU related. So it's still technically
I always try my best.
Same stadium at least.
But even just talking about our like existential things about movies, right?
Right. And that's
which we tend to do anyway, because this podcast is like therapy for me a lot of the time. I say that as someone who is going to and in therapy and has been in therapy, but like it is kind of therapy for me, and I love it very much. So I get to get my feelings out, and it's nice.
And it is. It is very nice. So
Stan Lee cameo is great as a last minute thing.
Yep, the Gamma exposed bit, and he gets sick. You know what? This is actually, I'm going to pitch this to you right now. I thought about this about halfway through when I was looking at my notes, and again, something we didn't mention off air, but I'm going to pitch it to you and see what you think. I think when we watch these movies, we're going to rank our favorite Stan Lee cameos. Like we did our favorite Michael Myers, like we did that for Halloween as we go along and stuff like that. Our favorite Jasons or whatever. I think we should do the Stan Lee cameos at this point.
Yeah.
So I'll do right now. So far, it's Iron Man #1 and Hulk #2. I did like the Iron Man, the Tony Stark, or the Stan Lee as Hef.
That is correct.
Iron Man
that is the correct ranking.
Okay.
There's a great moment in the movie that Banner has like I don't know if it's existential moment or not, thread. I don't know how to say it, but the moment when he's in the shower after the campus battle and he sees the shower head become the gun turret, like he's having a flashback as Banner, not as the Hulk, is amazing. I think that's one of the best moments of Banner living with the memories and the regrets of having this monster and having to like deal with it as Banner. I think it's a great representation of that. It really lands for me. I don't have a lot else. We brought up the Friggs. We brought up Martin Starr. Oh, and I love that Friggs helps voice the character again. I think that's great.
Yeah, me too. That's great. I'll throw out there a couple things I noticed. Last minute notes I wanted to throw out there. I love the moment when Betty first sees Bruce in the restaurant sequence. Also, and they kind of have that moment where she's talking to Ty Burrell and then to Samson, and Bruce walks into the back of the restaurant, walks out to talk to the owner there where he's staying, and also you see Betty sees him, and they have this great camera shot of it. She's talking to Samson, and the camera shot goes from one angle and kind of goes around as she goes around him, going, "Is that?" And then she goes off after.
Oh yeah. And the music, again, the music in that Craig Armstrong did is fucking awesome.
Awesome. That's one. So getting them together for the first time again, brilliant moment, having them together.
Also, what is the name of the guy Who owns the pizza restaurant?
My Schmodown days are over, man. I forget.
Stanley.
That's right. That is. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, that's right.
Right, which I love.
Right. That probably was going to be the Stanley cameo before they made the Stanley cameo.
Yeah.
Quote unquote Stanley cameo to a degree. But also we got another Shield mention at some point. Another more of that groundwork being laid. I like that. Raw. We didn't talk about the finale, of course, the credit credit scene.
Oh,
it's
yes.
kind of a weird credit scene because
it was supposed to be the post-credit scene initially.
Right.
And then they moved it to the end of the movie because the actual ending where it's him out in the middle of the forest is amazing. Number one. And the days without incident going down to 0, and it's you see the green in it, the smirk on Norton's face and the eyes turn green. So good. Also, they've explained this last scene, by the way.
Okay.
So I think it was in The Consultant, which is one of the shorts with Coulson. They decided that they need to basically throw Ross off the trail of what they're doing. And they send Stark to do it because Ross doesn't like Stark, and they're trying to get Emil to join the Avengers.
Right.
So that's the idea, is that they don't really explain it in any of the movies, but that was the idea, is that he was trying, and they knew that if he did that Ross would turn them down.
Right. Okay.
So that's what the explanation is, but that's why Stark is there. He's basically
strange.
Yeah. It's really contrived because it was done after the fact, because they knew that they had kind of messed it up.
Right. And they wanted to connect. They're still kind of connected. And they basically just wanted RDJ to have a moment. He said, hey, remember me? We're building something here.
Yeah. But I love I hear you have an unusual problem. You should talk. You should listen. What a great banter.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, William Hurt and RDJ. That's very.
Yeah. I just love you should talk, and the way he's doing it.
Yeah. So good. So good. Final thing I had written down at one point is what Marvel has done best for a long time. And it's those fan servicey moments. They built and built and built. You do finally get the fist bump moment of Hulk smash. Doesn't say anything throughout. Also, the end of that, you saved that for that moment.
What a nerd boner.
Nerd boner. Boom.
Boom. It happened. Nerd boner everywhere. Just nerd boners flying in the wind like we talked about last time,
Fist bump. There it is. Hulk smash. Yes.
Well, that and also the Hulk clap. Seeing him do Hulk clap on screen,
which is the first time we've seen that. We didn't get to see that really before. In the way it was done very well there. So yeah, really, really well done. So
just a good fucking movie, dude. And I would like to amend my Iron Man from 8.5 to 8.
Okay. We're doing that. Or jumping to our ratings. We always rate things on a scale of 1 to 11 here on PLD Projects. We always turn things up to 11. PJ had his score of 8. I was trying to say 8. PJ had a score
as much
of 8.5. I remember he's now bumping it down to 8. I had it as initially 7.5 and then bumped it up to an 8. I think I'll stay at an 8 for Iron Man.
Yeah, perfect.
So go ahead. Where is your Incredible Hulk score?
The reason why is I realize more and more as I talk about it, I like this movie more. I think it's more fun. I think it's I know that's fucking sacrilegious to people. I fucking love this movie. I think it's so much more interesting than it gets credit for. I think it's so fun. This is the 8.5 movie.
Okay. All right. I am sticking with the 8, actually. So I'm tying it with Iron Man.
See, I think it's better than Iron Man.
Here's the one thing I have. The one thing that Iron Man has that puts it in a virtual tie for me, Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, that's fair.
So damn good. Any lacking of the movie is overshadowed by the fact that he is so damn good. Which is why I put them both at 8. I actually almost put Incredible Hulk over it as well. I surprised myself going, I actually like this a little more than Iron Man as well, to a degree. It's more fluid. It's more cohesive that way. It's not.
It feels like a full movie.
Like a full story movie. Exactly. And yeah, that's why I love it. But again, RDJ wins it so damn good. I can argue that Edward Norton is great, but he's no RDJ when it comes to importance, everything else. So I'm happy leaving it as an 8 and 8. That's still going to make people laugh. People are like, you're tying this with Iron Man? Yes, I am.
Yeah, and I'm putting it just above. And yes, I know that's sacrilegious and crazy, but I love this movie.
Yep.
I think the big thing is it does feel like a full movie to me comparatively. The more I watch the original Iron Man, and it's not necessarily a dig, it's just the truth. I just see the chinks in the armor more because we've come so far with the MCU.
Yep.
And so it doesn't necessarily hold up as well as some of the other
100%.
movies. And that's okay. That's not a
100%.
bad thing.
Absolutely. I totally get it and totally go with it. But at the end of the day, that's what it is, man. We're at the same thing. I mean, it's similar enough. It's interesting where everything else is going to go. I'm not sure tier-wise where it's going to go. We'll figure that out as we get closer to the end of phase 1. But that's all. That's going to do it for us there, folks. PJ, where can the folks find you?
You guys can find me here over at the podcast on the normal days where we do all the fun things. You can find me on all the social medias wherever podcasts are sold at PJ Campbell, that whole thing. Hanging out, doing the thing. Come hang out with me on Blue Sky.
Absolutely. The funny thing is, I'm thinking about it now. Like, this is, again, I mentioned before, this is March 11th recording. This is actually going to air next week on Patreon. So it's going to be March 20, whatever it is, or whatever, March 19th, maybe. But if you're hearing this, you might be hearing this in like November or December. I don't know when you're hearing necessarily. So where do you find us? We could have gone off these social media. We could have changed Blue Sky could have blown up when we went somewhere else.
I didn't even consider that.
I didn't even think. I just thought about that now. But as of now,
now, in this moment,
follow me to do so at the Blue Sky. You can also find me all over this channel. Obviously, my name is Tin, so I get to do a lot of things. I do a review, which is a V podcast. I do a Queen podcast, sister YouTube channel called Crown Jewels. I do a Holy Soak Star Wars podcast, Meta Gunner, every week, and hopefully those are still going as well. Class Action, I do a monthly show there with Maddie and Richard R. Jarvie. A lot of good stuff coming up on this channel and on this particular podcast as well. We're just going to dive to the MCU. We've committed to doing it. It's going to take us a couple of years to probably get through everything. But we're still going to try to do other stuff in between here and there. We might take some breaks between phases. We are going to definitely take some breaks at some point to fill in the gaps. Like we have Final Destination Bloodlines is coming out. Last Conjuring movies coming out. The Ballerina movies coming out. Those are all movies we've done those franchises. So we got to, when they have new movies come out, we got to tackle those.
And if you're in November right now, you get to look forward to us talking about Doctor Who next month for the Christmas special. And if you're listening to us right now in March, you get to look forward to us talking about Doctor Who next month because season 2 begins. So either way, on either side of this, you get to listen to us talk about Doctor Who. Either that or I'm sorry in advance because you're tired of hearing us talk about Doctor Who.
PJ is very proud of that jokish thing he came up with. He did it yesterday, recorded yesterday. He's got the same passion, a plum behind the joke. He's still shitting grin. I love him for it. I love you for it. I'm
very, very proud of it. I'm not going to lie to you.
Absolutely. So that's what we're going to do it this week. You'll see us next time, which is the next film is Iron Man 2, I believe. Which is kind of funny when you think about it. It's like Iron Man, Hulk, Iron Man 2. That's how it began, really. Okay, but Iron Man 2, which is another one of those lesser viewed films, as one initially I would consider one of the bottom tiers of Marvel MCU. I'm very interested to revisit it and see if I like it better. I do know I like Sam Rockwell a lot, so that will always help. I like the Boyd, Mickey Rourke. I like him essentially. So
I want the bird.
My bird. My Boyd. And so but it's gonna be fun either way because again, I don't hate any of these movies. I still have fun and I can find good stuff about them. So stay for sticking around. And if you are not part of the Patreon, which means you are listening in November, join the Patreon. You can get all these early. We are probably headlong into wherever you are. We're into these phase 3 probably by the time you're getting this. So join us.
Yeah, so join it so you can listen to it,
Catch up on it. Patreon.com/PLD Project. Great people like Austin Goodell, Brandon Buckingham, great crew there. We have also have some early access to the Queen podcast sometimes, have early access to other things sometimes. Try to do some gatherings here and there when we can. It's been very busy, so it's been a hard time finding the right time for that. Got a great Facebook chat that we always talk with all our friends in, and a lot of good stuff. So that'll do it for this week. We will see you next time here on PLD Projects. And until then, take care, guys.